morning. How is everyone today? So I'm a little bit late this morning. I had to shoo a trucker out of the house. The trucker was not moving very fast, bless his heart. He doesn't always move very fast in the morning, and I do know how he feels, to be fair. So I'm just getting myself set up. Hope you all had a good Beltane. Those of you that celebrate had a good time yesterday. We had a fab time. I should tell you all about it later on. I'm on my phone today because I'm doing things on my computer. It's technical, but it should work with a bit of luck. And so I'm just getting myself. Oh, look, I can see me. That's lovely. Not really what I need to do. I don't really need to see myself, but there we go. So, how is everyone today? Who have I got with me? What lovely people are in the house. Whoops, slightly wobbly bobbly there. I can't see who I've got yet. So who's here? Oh, Katie's here. Good morning, Katie. Nice to see your lovely face popping in. Oh, slightly wobbly bit there. Yeah, so today I'm going to talk to you about Beltane, and we're going to do a little Beltane ritual, which is something different to what I've done before, because we had a big Beltane jobby last night, which I'll tell you about. I'll wait for a few. Oh, all of a sudden I have 5 fans. It's really exciting. So, obviously yesterday was a Beltane. For those of you, morning Laura. Good morning, my darling. Morning, Emma. And morning, Katie. And I must just say, I'm sitting on a very, very comfy cushion. I fell down the stairs last week, which is a little bit stupid, really, wasn't it? And I actually slid down about 4 or 5 stairs and landed right on my coccyx. And I actually thought I was going to take my daughter out like a 9-pin. She's at the bottom of the stairs going like this. And I'm thinking, Sophie, move. You're only little. I'm going to just knock you flying. Anyway, I've got a very bruised coccyx. So lovely, lovely Laura appeared yesterday at the door with a coccyx cushion for my poor bottom. So I'm actually sitting comfortably for the first time since Tuesday. So thank you, Laura. So, for those of you that know, most of you do know, I would imagine. Oh, what's happening here? My screen's having a funny 5 minutes, but hey ho, that's fine. Yesterday was Beltane, which is 1st of May, but just running up to that, Beltane is one of the Sabbats of the year. It's traditionally the sexy one. Here's Sophie, who I nearly took out like a 9-pin. Good morning, sweetheart. I've got a lovely bum cushion from my friend Laura, Sophie, so I can sit safely. So that's good, because Sophie didn't really fancy the idea of being taken out by her mummy down a flight of stairs. Anyway, so let's go back to where we were. So Beltane is the end of April, May Sabbath that we celebrate. And it's the sexy one. It's to do with love and fertility, and the green man and the goddess get together and they go and do their business in the woods, and it's very, very visceral. It's very, very raw. It's very sexy. It's all about, which is cool, which is really good. And it starts on April the 30th. So that was the Friday night, which is also Walpurgis night, which is the night of the witches. Saint Walpurgis night, like Halloween. You get Halloween is All Hallows Eve, because All Hallows Day is November the 1st. So Walpurgis Eve is the 1st of May. No, I'm not allowed to use the stairs, Sophie, not without supervision. Yeah, it was, I'm a bit ginger on them, I have to say. So Walpurgis Eve is the night before, and that's when the witches are said to hold a great meeting, especially in the Brocken Mountains, I think it is in Germany. And they all get together, so you don't go out, you stay in. It's a bit like a Samhain in the summer, which is in the spring, which is really, I find that really interesting, because obviously in the southern hemisphere, it is Samhain right now. So they'll all be doing witchy things and everything. So, and according to Bram Stoker, he wrote a story that I listened to. It's a fabulous storyteller called Jason Buck, and his sister Rosalind does stories. So if you ever get to listen to them, they're really worth listening to. Cost a couple of quid, but nothing horrendous. Excuse me, I've got a rotten cold. He wrote a story, And we're very distantly related to Bram Stoker. He married my great-great-grandmother's cousin or something. Oh, thank you, Tony. Thank you. It's the short hair. It's the boofiness of the hair. It's not because I've been dragged through a hedge backwards. Much. Anyway, and it was called, I think it's called Dracula's Guest, in which case this guest, he strays from the path and he finds the dead rising from their grave. So you can see the familiar stories there from Stoker. So that's Walpurgis Night, and it's the night of the witches. And I know I've got some friends over sort of Medway area who do when the witches go and they walk around their sticks. They sort of do this witches dance, and they do that. So that's sort of, it's hex something. So obviously it's Walpurgis Nacht. My German's not great, although I did do German at school. Very poorly, I hasten to add. Dropped it as soon as I could. So that's like a spring Samhain. So that brings us to Beltane. So Beltane Eve, May Day Eve. Now that's traditionally, morning Natasha, that's from sunset to sunset. And as the lovely Jude pointed out to me when we were chatting about it the other night, there would have been no clocks. So they would have gone, sunsetting, that's the start of the day. So that's when this time would have been start, they'd have known it's time to start. So Beltane Eve starts on the 30th of April, and it represents the peak of spring and the beginning of the summer, and everything's bursting with potential fertility. Everything is, all the animals are getting a little bit at the opposite sex, or maybe the same sex, who knows? I don't want to discount gay rabbits, they've got every right as much as anybody else. And everything, everywhere you go, the leaves are unfurling, the sheep and you only need to look at your cats if you've got cats. They're all rubbing up things, and it's a natural thing. Everything is getting a little bit jiggy. And obviously we're designed to get like that so that we reproduce, as well as having some fun while we're doing it, I hasten to add. Yes, I'm not one of these, it's only for fun. It's only for reproduction. No, that's not for me. So the fertility is one of the central themes, and fertility is a funny issue. I always think it can be quite a sensitive subject for people that perhaps are struggling with fertility, people who've got fears about their fertility, or people who, like me, are 50 and are going, I don't particularly want to be fertile. I'll tell you what, if I was to get pregnant now, I would probably throw myself off a beachy head at 50. I mean, it's very unlikely, but it could happen. It's been known to happen. Not me throwing myself off a beachy head. Anyway, but fertility isn't just about reproduction. It's also about creativity. It's also about, changes in your life. It's also about all the things, fertile imagination, writing, changing jobs, all those things that require you to grow something, to change something, to transform something. So something embryonic, an idea that you bring to fruition. It's all of those things as well. So although obviously fertility in the traditional sense is one of the main points of it, obviously it encompasses everything else. So the maiden goddess has reached her ripe fullness. The Flora, the goddess of spring. Laura is Flora. I'll tell you about Laura and Flora in a little bit. The May Queen and the May Bride, and the young Oak King, all the gods, is present as Jack in the Green Man. And he falls in love with her and woos her and wins her hand. Well, when I say woos her and wins her hand, it's a little bit more animalistic than that, but So that's known as the Great Marriage, the Great Union, the Great Rite, Sacred Marriage, Greenwood Marriage. And one I found out yesterday is the Hieros Gamos, which is I think that's Roman, isn't it, Laura? Laura just discovered that for me yesterday. So the marriage is consummated, the May Queen is pregnant. And that's symbolic of the fertility and the green growth of the land. And this time of year, you only need to look out the window and you can see plants unfurling, beautiful flowers, all that. Woohoo! Yeah, Laura, I'm going to tell them about you in a minute, Laura. You can hide your blushes for a little bit, missus. So that's all about the growth of the land and the fertility of the land as well, because obviously we need to have crops that are grown. We need to have that kind of fertility as well as having some fun. Now, in Neo-Paganism, which by Neo-Paganism I mean us folk that call ourselves pagans now, because obviously we are doing what we think happened with reinventing, recreating our rituals, our ceremonies. No one's written a book from 300 BC and gone, for future pagans, this is what you do. They didn't write things down. It was all an oral tradition. So apart from the odd thing, which seems to have lasted and come down. Oh, lost my slipper, and I need my slippers on because my feet are cold. Blooming cold. I've actually got the heater on. I pinched the heater from your room, Sophie. So traditional colours of Beltane in the Neo-Pagan sense are red for vitality and passion and vibrancy, green for the green fields, the growth of fertility and abundance, and then white or silver for cleansing and purity and repelling negative energy. And I can't help but think that the purity and the cleansing is a little bit of a, and I'm not Christian bashing at all, that's a little bit of a Christianised view of it, that you've got this May bride, that, you know, she's got to be all pure and all the rest of it, when she wouldn't have been. No, very, very unlikely. So Beltane traditions are, it's again neo-pagan, but pretty much we're sure the Beltane fires have been going on for a long, long time. They're documented a long time ago. So it's a fire festival. You think of Beltane, you think of the Beltane fires, people jumping over them, which I'll come to in a minute. So the word Beltane, I've got this written down, so I'll never remember this, potentially originates from the Celtic god Bel, meaning the bright one, and the Gaelic word Tane, meaning fire. So literally, bright one, the god of fire. I've got a cat meowing. It's Lola, Sophie, so she won't shush. Victorians trying to make out everything is innocent. Absolutely, Emma. Oh, Hieros Gamos is Greek, meaning holy marriage. Hey, let me sort this cat out. It always happens, doesn't it? There's a cat. Come on, in you come. Oh, go on, out you go. Go on that way. Out you go. Oops. Sorry about that. One in, two out. Whoever just joined has probably thought I'm looking at an empty room. Claire's finally lost it. Hieros Gamos is Greek, meaning holy marriage. Cool. So together they make bright fire or goodly fire. Let me put myself down on my cushion properly. Thank you, Laura. And the sun is, and traditionally they were lit to possibly to honour the sun and encourage the support of Bel, the god. She wants some. Oh, she wanted to go out, Sophie. And the sun's light for the future harvest and protect the crops and the community. And Bel, this god, had to be won over by human effort. So obviously they lit the fires to praise Bel. So traditionally, all the fires in the community were put out, and they had a special fire kindled for Beltane, which was called Teenigan. It's probably not how you pronounce it, which was the need fire. So people jumped this fire to purify and cleanse themselves and bring fertility again. Whether that's to clear up, you know, get past year gone, or whether that's a sort of purity in a Christian sense, I'm not sure. And couples would jump that in a minute, which I shall come to in a mojo. So let me just check what else I've got here. So obviously it's a time of hand fasting and marriage, as it's a great wedding of the god and goddess. It's a popular time for pagan weddings or hand fastings. Now, hand fasting is not actually a wedding. It is a wedding in sense, but it's not legal in the eyes of the lawyer. I know some people are after changing that. I could go into reasons why for and why against. As a wedding celebrant with a local authority, I can tell you why we don't do it, but I won't bore you. So some people say that hand fasting is kind of a betrothal. It's for a year and a day. So if you like someone, if you like, you know, Bob from next door, Bob the baker, well, like Bob the baker, and you jump over the thing with the fire with him, and you hand fasted for the day, for a year and a day. If you get to September and you think, it ain't for me, when it comes to Beltane again, you can walk away from that without recrimination. You can walk away and go off with John the farmer down the road if you really want to. Though obviously you're going to get a bit of a name for yourself if you do that every time. So today the length of commitment for it is a wholly different thing. So today most people do hand fasting potentially for life. Although I do know some people that do it yearly as a recommitment every year, which is however whatever's good for you. You know, some people like to renew their vows. Each ceremony is unique for different people. The basic content, if you do a whole hand fasting, is you have your hands tied together in an 8 shape of the cord is wound around you. I can't show you, but it's literally, if you imagine an 8 going under there and across there, so you're there, you're bound in an 8, and which is what's it called? And it's an everlasting knot. The 8 shape, is it? God, if Ricky was here, he'd know. What's the symbol for infinity? That's an 8 on its side, so that's probably where that comes from. Common elements that you'll still get with a hand fasting are rings and vows. Rings and vows actually aren't part, you don't have to have them in a wedding. So if you were to get married and you just want that to be legally married, it's about your declarations that you're free to marry in the contract you make. There's the vows don't have to be part of it. They are completely personal. So that's why it's called tying the knot. And at some point they're later unbound, but they're bound together symbolically through free will. And that's why they say it's the tradition of, it's good luck if you get married on a rainy day. And the reason behind that is that wet knots are harder to unpick. So that's a little bit of interest in there. So usually we use a red cord or a ribbon, though I've got one coming up that I'm going to. And they are using multicoloured ribbons. People change it to what they want. So that's when you jump the broomstick or the besom. That's part of the tradition. And mead and cakes were traditionally served at this hand fasting at Beltane, almost as a communion. You know, like when we do a ritual, we tend to do something to eat, something to drink, which we will do later on. And I haven't got a drink actually. I'll have my tea. That'll be fine. Or my Actimel. That's why, because it was mead and cakes, it was called a honeymoon. Because this wonderful period, girls, stop fighting. That's why, because, you know, the first month is all, and it's the honey for the moon. So obviously, as well, we have the maypole associated with Beltane, which for those of you that have never seen one is, that's really sweet about the rainy day. Yeah, it's true, Sophie. Yeah, it didn't rain on my wedding day. It was boiling hot, but we know I'm picking on knots. So obviously you've got a tall pole with ribbons round it. And of course the tall pole is no doubt a phallic symbol. And it's often or traditionally made of birch, representing the potency of the god. A nice tall long pole. Don't think I need to elaborate on that, especially as my daughter's here. Not that sort of mother. And the ring of flowers at the top in a circle. Circles are always female. Obviously so something tall and straight represents the male, and something circular that sits on top of it, like a little crown, as you can imagine, represents the female. And the many colours are weaved around it, people dancing and going up and under each other, symbolises the spiral of life and the union of the god and goddess, and the union between the earth and sky. So that's maypoles, and that's something that it's been coming back, but that would have been quite a common thing on many a green during sort of more ancient times and even more recent times. I think they're coming back a lot. So there's also a tradition in May of going and maying. So hand fasted or not, our couples old and young went and maying, and then they'd go off and spend the night in the woods and the fields, making love, as you do. I'm not sure some of the younger ones were making love. And then bring back armfuls of the first May blossoms. And this is the only time of the year you're allowed to bring back hawthorn, which is traditionally... Am I blushing, Mum? No, I'm not. Not at my great age. Hawthorns are traditionally unlucky because they're part of the fairy realm and they bring you bad luck. But this time of the year, if you bring them in, you are allowed to. You have to ask them first, but you're allowed to decorate your house and barns. So that is the only time it's allowed. Young women would gather and wash their face in the dew of May Day morning. Now, I've done this. Me and Lou have been up to Kit's Cottage to watch the Morris dance in there, because that's quite often happening. That's a Morris Day, a May Day thing. And we have actually washed our face in it. So obviously I'm not doing bad for 80. And because we were joking when we were talking about that, we were saying about, weren't we, Laura, about having dogweed in it. And actually, Jidge said there's something in urine that does make your skin look younger. So maybe my face is young looking because of the dogweed that I've put over my face over the years, or more recently from the back garden. So it would be catweed, which is a really pleasant thought. A lot of May Day traditions are used for Lupercalia. Yes, they are. Definitely they are. So, and also you'd have a flower crown. Someone would be crowned a May Queen. Not crowning any May Queens today, though I suspect this afternoon when I catch up with Jenny, we'll be having a May Queen thing. And everyone was free to enact the sacred marriage of the god and the goddess. So this is obviously Victorian prudery, shall we call it, because I don't think they were that prudish in some ways, but the morality definitely of the how people were perceived, because obviously we know that if you were pregnant and you weren't married, it was people were cast out of communities, and it was horrendous. Or women were cast out, and the man's never cast out. Sorry for any men watching. But it was accepted to go off and, what is my fringe doing? To go and reenact the great rite with whoever, as long as it wasn't somebody else's husband or somebody else's wife, you could go and frolic in the fields with whoever. And according to something I found, Beltane babies, so babies that arrived 9.5 months later, were accepted. So if there's a flourish of babies in February, early February, that's when my son was born, just to gross my daughter out. Not that I was frolicking in fields, I have, but they are accepted. They were, it's a Beltane baby. How true that is, I don't know, but it's a lovely thought. So that probably explains why there's a lot of summer weddings when obviously, it is double standards, though. That explains why, sort of everybody's had their fun on, Beltane Eve and May Day. And then all of a sudden it gets to June or July and Flossie from the dairy's going, oh dear. And, saying to Jim the baker, mate, you went to the Beltane fires. There's a little bun in this oven. So that's obviously, and it's nicer to go outside. But in the days of when it would have been a church, it wouldn't really have mattered what time of year you got married in. So, yeah. So that's why weddings are particularly popular in the summer, because a lot of people would realise that they had indeed been fertile. So obviously there's as well, me and Lou a couple of years ago, went to the brilliant Butser Farm, which is near Petersfield. It's on I want to say the A9 on the way down to Portsmouth. It's just in Hampshire, so it's about an 1.5-hour drive from here. And Butser Farm is an ancient, they've made sort of Stone Age and Iron Age buildings and houses, and redesigned a Roman villa and things like that, so that you can go and experience what it would have been like. There's like a Stone Age village, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's really good for kids. If you've got kids and you want to show them what it's like, it's really good for adults too, and I really think I need to go again. And they have every year a Beltane festival, and they do this massive, huge, it was about 30-foot Wicker Man. So any of you who have ever seen the film The Wicker Man, which is a real cult thing, isn't it? Those of you that have seen it will know. It's got Edward Woodward as is it Sergeant Howie, who ends up, he ends up quite burnt and dead, and obviously it's got Britt Eklund in it when she's very enticing. I think she's Willow, if I remember rightly. So the Wicker Man is it's a man made of wicker that symbolises the sacrifice that the people of the village, the community, are willing to make for the earth. And there is obviously more than a distinct possibility of it having animal and human sacrifices, and it's Caesar's account of the Druids in his Gallic wars. Obviously he's biased against the Britons and we're all barbarians and all the rest of it, but he does report that there was a huge effigy with basically a wicker cave like you see on the Wicker Man. And if you haven't seen that, it's a bit difficult watching. It's really, if you've never watched it before, you watch it going, what am I watching? What is exactly happening here? Filled with grains, animals, human slaves before being burnt as a sacrifice to the gods. So it would have had a barbaric beginning, and obviously we did used to do animal sacrifices and human sacrifices. Yes, Natasha, it's still there. It's Butser, Butser, Butser Farm. It's got a fantastic web page and everything, and it's probably developed so much from when you were little. It's really, really good. I'd completely recommend. And Tony, you'd love it for your little lass. I can't think what her name is. But your little girl would love it. It's a perfect place for your little lass to go as well. It's quite a long drive for you, I think, but it's worth it. So the Wicker Man was sometimes known as John Barleycorn as well. There's a song called John Barleycorn Must Die. And that's, the fire is lit and poof, up it goes. And it symbolises the life and death cycle and transformation of Bella. Yeah, it'd be perfect for Bella, Tony. I think it's she's a smart, clever little girl. I think she's about 9 or 10, if I remember rightly. And it's perfect. It's very educational as well, but it's also great fun. And it's the nearest you're going to get to going into a Mesolithic little village, because obviously they don't exist anymore. But it's fantastic. You'll love it too. I can just see Tony skipping around enjoying it. So that's sort of the Wicker Man. He I don't know quite, he was, because the barley is a crop. Oh, she's 8. Oh well, even better. What an excuse to go. So in British folklore he was named John Barleycorn. So that's why you burn the Wicker Man. And we had a ritual yesterday. We had Maids and Pagans. We had our own ritual yesterday, which was rather fantastic. We had lovely Laura wrote a little enactment of the Great Marriage, and her and another of our friends, Tony. Laura was the goddess, and she was a very fruity goddess. And the language wasn't crude at all. But it was very clear that what flower petals were. It was very clear what jumping his broom meant, and it was that kind of innuendo. But really, everybody would have picked up, and we all picked it up. We had absolutely brilliant. And our friend Tony reenacted the god, and it was absolutely brilliant. And so that was a reenactment of that. Obviously, it was via Zoom, so there was no physical reenactment. I want to make that completely clear. But it was it was a little miniature play. It only lasted a couple of minutes. It was absolutely perfect. And we also had our own Wicker Man, which I made. I'll put a photo up of him later on, complete with a big willy. And we called him Willy because I made this Wicker Man. It was Carry On Beltane, yeah, and Tone read it really, really quite camply. What's his name? I can't think what the character is. It Leslie someone? Yeah, I know he was going to read it sort of a bit, and he did, and it was absolutely brilliant. Actually, my dad filmed us visiting his kids 20 years ago. It's good, had a lasting impact on us. Yes, must take hubby. People stayed in character. Yeah, people wandering around in character. So it was really, yeah, it still is. It's really good, Natasha. That's it. Oh, well done, Natasha. Leslie Jones. Was it Leslie Jones? I can't remember. But he was ding dong. He was very like that, wasn't he? And Laura was very sort of come up and see me sometime kind of thing, and it was fabulous. But anyway, I made this Wicker Man out of not quite so traditionally, out of toilet rolls and brown paper from the Amazon packaging, and I stuffed him with old Christmas tree trimmings so that he went up like a rocket. And as Mark put him, he made a little drilled some bamboo into a piece of wood. Very creative, to put his legs onto so that he stayed still, because I was worried about him wobbling over in our fire pit. And when I came back out to look at it, he'd added an appendage between his legs, and I thought actually he would have done when myself, Jenny, Sue and Hazel went to the Mercian gathering. And there's always a massive willy on these things because it's the fertility. So we called him Willy. But the willy kept falling off. So that caused much hilarity, didn't it, last night, Laura? So that was quite hilarious. So then, of course, then you've got the need fires. So last night we used our fire as the symbolic fire. And then it was custom in the village for all the fires to be put out and have one central one. And everyone would light a taper from it to relight the hearth. Leslie Phillips, that's it, Leslie Phillips, well done, our Laura. Everyone would light a taper from it to relight their hearth. That's to ward off the evil spirits and protect the crops. And you can imagine, you know, when you are reliant on fire, putting your fire out and leaving your house in darkness and potential cold was a really important thing to do. You're putting a lot of trust into that. So it was to ward off evil spirits, protect the crops. This is the bit that we jump over. I jumped over a candle last night because our fire pit, Mark goes on a theory of more is more, not less is more. Our fire pit's 1 metre wide, so yeah, I wasn't jumping over that, not with this coccyx. So I did a very girly little skip over a candle. And so that was quite fun, and Mark did as well. And as the Wicker Man was burning, myself and Mark did the Brit Eklund dance in the background, much to the delight of the people that were watching. So we jump over the Beltane fire for fertility and love, for ourselves and our crops and our animals, because obviously we want our animals to mate, we want our animals to reproduce. And also there's tales and documentation of animals being driven between 2 fires through the smoke to protect them for the coming year. So that's need fires really for you. And but it's slightly different in the Avalonian tradition, which is something that I'm going to reflect in a little ritual I'm going to do in a minute. Because obviously yesterday we were full of fire, and obviously today, apart from the fact it's actually raining here, there you go. You missed my weather report, didn't you? I didn't do one at the beginning. It's actually been raining here, but obviously I'm not going to have a fire indoors. And if I'm honest, I wore myself out yesterday. So in the Avalonian tradition, which is where I started, though I've kind of fallen into generic neo-pagan a little bit with still having my, you know, the way I do my quarters are, I think they're more druidic, aren't they? But but I'm so used to doing ceremonies now with a group of women who do all different things. I know when it's Kent Goddess group Sabbath this afternoon, and it's a slightly different order, but it's like we always say to people, it's the intent of what you're doing that's the important thing, not necessarily the how you do it. So with that, obviously you've got the goddesses of them in the Avalonian tradition, the goddesses that we would call in. If you think of people like Venus and Aphrodite and the Diana, all the goddesses of love, and also it's also the warrior goddesses as well, because protecting other people is also love. Love for them, love for their life, honouring their life, respect for their life. So I think that's an important thing to add in. And of course, traditionally you've got the maiden mother crone, hence the May Queen. She goes from being a maiden to a mother overnight, which is a little bit grim really if you're, where's the chance to be a lover? Where's the chance to have some fun? Where's the chance to really enjoy that time? So hence the Avalonian tradition has put in a lover archetype. So this is the time of the lover. And here in the Avalonian tradition, the traditional colour, as we said earlier on, was red. And I have got a red candle. But actually the Avalonian colour is blue. And it's a water time of the year for the Avalonian tradition. And I'm thinking of the sea spray and the Venus, the Venus in the pearls and the in the clamshell, all that kind of thing. So it's a time of coming into your own, and it's a time of love. It's an archetype of love now and Letha, the summer solstice, as opposed to just sexual fertility and love, which is what I'm going to tinker with today. So slightly different today. I'm not going to do another fire thing. Cheryl's just joined us, and if you've joined us, Cheryl, if you want fire, you'll have to look at last night, because today's isn't fire. So I'm going to be using water in my ritual in a little bit, hence why I'm downstairs. I needed a bit more space to do that. So orange, green and blue yesterday, yeah. I mean, I've got red on for Beltane, and I've gone with the red colours in some things. But it just depends. I mean, you could wear, if you wore bright pink, it doesn't make any difference. It's what your intentions are. And, we always say it's no point having all the gear and no idea. An earnest intention or a genuine intention is so more important. And you could do that sitting in your car. You could do that on the bus. thinking about something. It doesn't have to be some great ritual. So I'm going to do my little ritual for you all, because I know how to have fun. I've got it written down. So if you want to take a minute, I'm going to be lighting a candle in a minute. If you want to join in, if you get a little candle, and if you want something to eat or drink, then feel free to do that. Now I am going to have to waft around with my camera to get this sorted. So let me put this up. And you can tell by what I'm wearing, these aren't the sort of sleeves to be playing with fire in. This is one of my birthday presents from my lovely husband. So I've got you on the tripod so that I can show you what I'm doing in a minute. So if you want to join in, little candle and something to eat, something to drink, and then you can watch what I'm doing. And I'll talk you through what I'm doing. So morning, Dean. And okay, so we'll just take a minute and we'll start a little ritual. Okay. So to start, as always, I'll call in the quarters. I honour the north. I call upon you, element of earth, to bring you fertility and prosperity to my Beltane right. I honour the east. I call upon you, element of air, to bring your clarity and wisdom to my Beltane right. I honour the south. I call upon you, element of fire, to bring your warmth and passion to my Beltane right. I honour the west. I call upon you, element of water, to bring your emotion and compassion to my Beltane right. I honour the goddess. I call upon you, maiden, lover, mother crone, to bring fecundity and abundance to my Beltane right. I honour the gods. I call upon you, the green man, lord of the hunt, to bring power and strength to my Beltane right. I honour the ancestors. I call upon you, those of my blood and bone, to bring ancient wisdom and knowledge to my Beltane right. I honour the spirits of place. I call upon you, those sacred to the land, to bring your energy and power to my Beltane right. As we heard earlier, in the southern hemisphere, it is Samhain, the night of the witches. And at Beltane, we also honour the witches on Walpurgis night, Beltane Eve. The ancestors, the women of our blood and bone, those who held their sacred truths safe, those who passed their wisdom and knowledge through the mother line, we honour you too. So this is Walpurgis Night by Doreen Valiente. Walpurgis Night, the time is right, the ancient powers awake. So dance and sing around the ring and Beltane magic make. Walpurgis Night, upon the eve of May. We'll merry meet and summer greet forever and a day. New life we see in flower and tree, and summer comes again. Be free and fair like earth and air, and sunshine and the rain. Walpurgis Night, upon the eve of May. We'll merry meet and summer greet forever and a day. As magic fire be our desire to tread the pagan way, and our true will find and fulfil as dawns a brighter day. Walpurgis Night, upon the eve of May. We'll merry meet and summer greet forever and a day. The pagan powers this night be ours, let all the world be free, and sorrows cast into the past, and future blessed be. Walpurgis Night, upon the eve of May. We'll merry meet and summer greet forever and a day. And that's Doreen Valiente. I just thought that was perfect to honour those that sought their craft and protected their craft and passed it down to us. So yesterday was Beltane, and on that day and night of Beltane, we celebrate the union of the Lord and Lady. We call upon the Lady of Stars and Moon, to the bringer of dreams and twilight. We call upon the Lady of the Loom, the weaver of fates in the night. We call upon the Lady of the Lake, the singer of even song. We call upon the maiden, lover, mother and crone, the goddess alive and strong. We call upon the Lord of Sun, the rider in the sky. We call upon the Lord of Winds, to the eagle as he flies. We call upon the king stag, to the sun, lover and sacrifice. We call upon the Lord of the wildwood, the God laughing, free and wise. So, sleeves notwithstanding, I'm going to light this. There's a little bit of fire on this, so if you want to light your candle with me, if you have a candle. We light our candle to honour your union, the great marriage, the sacred marriage, the Hieros Gamos. The flame glows like the Beltane fires that burn in celebration over the land. We offer up a toast to your wedding feast, to bless your union with fertility. May you never thirst. Got some raspberry chocolate my son sent me. Look at that, it's got bits of raspberry in it and it's vegan. May you never hunger. And what I'll do is I'll put that on my altar later on as an offering, just as my sacrifice. And these days it's about sacrifices and giving something of yours. It could be a hair, it can be water and bread if that's all you've got. Don't worry, it's too like communion. It really, really doesn't matter. So, I'm going to take another sip of this. I don't have to completely read this because I can't remember all of this. But it's this is from, I adapted this from a ritual by Patty Wigington. So I'm going to have to move everything back a little bit, and this is when my lovely camera being able to be moved is going to come in handy. So I'm going to move my candle out of the way for now. So now I take time to honour the goddess. In the Avalonian tradition, Beltane is connected to water and also all sorts of love, not just the sexual union, including love of yourself. And I think that's really, really important, especially at the moment where we've been living in such strange circumstances. And I know we haven't all got partners, or if we have, lots of us aren't in happy relationships, maybe, and lockdowns made that difficult. Some of us are single, and of course you can still have sex if you're single, but it's obviously a different kind of sex. But it's not always the same, and there's shame attached to that. So I think it's important to do something about love for yourself, and that's what's important for me. So today, it's about loving yourself and loving other people around you, and about love as well. And obviously I did the whole fire ritual yesterday, and we had very, very sexy time we had in that as well, didn't we? I say Laura and Tony were superb as that. So I'm going to do something different. So I'm going to create a water garden as an offering to the goddess. So this I've completely made up. Patty Wigington had the idea of the stones and the water, but I've gone a bit berserk with this and made it up. So, but it's her words, and I'm going to move my camera a minute so you can see what my hands are doing. Okay, so I am your daughter Claire, and I stand before you, Isis, Aphrodite, Rhiannon, Ishtar, Tiamat, Branwen, Venus, Inanna, Shakti, mothers of the ancient people, guardians of those who walked the earth thousands of years ago. I offer you this devotion as a way of showing my gratitude. Your strength has flowed with me, within me. Your wisdom has given me strength. Your inspiration has given birth to harmony in my soul. So, I'm going to put the camera there so you can see now what's occurring here. Okay, so excuse my boobs, but there you go. Right. Now I've got moon water in my Glastonbury. This is just normal water I put out under the full moon. Sophie watch me do it, so I'm going to pour that in. Sorry for anybody that wants to read. And I've just realised I didn't check this bowl for waterproofing. This could be hilarious. So now place in crystals, shells, anything you want. So I've got a beautiful shell that's come from the Bahamas. And my friend's daughter gave me these beautiful, they're synthetic. They're not real ones, but they're still pretty. So I'm going to put them in there, and there's some little pearls in there. And I've got a few more little pearls, which I think is perfect for the what do you call it? And this as well, my beautiful power shell. So that makes me think of Venus. So in there I've got that. And I'm going to put another shell in there. So can you see that? I think that's, yeah. And then I'm just going to trim. I've got some artificial flowers here, only because I had some left and I've got nothing suitable in the garden at the moment. So I was just going to put a flower in there too. Whoops, sorry, I moved that round. There we go. Sorry, there we go. Right, can you all see that all right? That's not brilliant, is it? There. I'll show you properly in a minute. So you can place in all those sorts of things you want. Now it's time to honour some of the women that have touched my life. And I've got, you can use this, it says to use pebbles, but I've got sea quartz that I found on my travels. So I am your daughter Claire, and I stand before you to honour the sacred feminine that has touched me and touched my heart. I honour Sophie, who gave me the blessing of being my daughter. And with each name we put a pebble in for them. I honour Margaret, who gave birth to me and raised me to be strong and surrounded me with love. I honour my grandmothers, Doris and Reen, whose quiet strength and determination runs through me and who still whispers to me words of encouragement at dark moments. Put one each for them. I honour my great aunts, Sylvia and Isabel, who nurtured my creativity and unwittingly my witchy ways. And I honour my friends, so many women who I'm blessed to have in my life, women I am proud to call my friend. So I do have more than 6 friends, but I'm putting in a hagstone because a particular friend who is watching always brings me a hagstone. So that's representing my friend in particular, and a couple more of little stones. And I think to put in one for the people I forget. I am your daughter Claire, and I take time to honour myself. Take time to think about your strengths. And this was really difficult, I won't lie, it was really difficult to think what my strengths were. But I thank you for my strength, my determination, my creativity, my inspiration, my positivity, my warmth and my humour, and my loud, loud laugh. And for all the other remarkable things that make me who I am. I'll just show you. Can you see? Hang on. There's my little water garden for the goddess. I could put well, that looks perfect, doesn't it? And I'm going to put a little figurine in there later on when I've got one. So it's just water. You don't have to use moon water. You could use whatever you've got. I just happen to have moon water. So that's it. I just wanted to do that and to think about me for a change, as well as all the people I love. And I'll put some photos of this up so you can see it better. So I suppose I could, if I wanted to, put my candle in there too and mix nicely with the wax goes everywhere. You can divine that. Do you know, it's a form of divination that involves putting candle wax into water. You can tell by the shapes and it tells you things. So there we go, that's that. So I'm going to close that now. I thank the spirits of place, those sacred to this land, for bringing their energy and presence to my Beltane rite. I bid you hail and farewell. I thank the ancestors, those of my blood and bone, for bringing their ancient wisdom and knowledge to my Beltane rite. I bid you hail and farewell. I thank the gods, the Green Man and the Lord of the Hunt, for bringing your strength and power to my Beltane rite. I bid you hail and farewell. I thank the goddess, the maiden, the lover, the mother and the crone, for bringing your fecundity and abundance to my Beltane rite. I bid you hail and farewell. I thank the element of water in the west, for bringing your emotion and compassion to my Beltane rite. I bid you hail and farewell. I thank the south and the element of fire, for bringing your warmth and passion to my Beltane rite. I bid you hail and farewell. I thank the east, the element of air, for bringing your clarity and wisdom to my Beltane rite. I bid you hail and farewell. And I thank the element of north, the north, the element of earth, for bringing fertility and prosperity to my Beltane rite. I bid you hail and farewell. Blessed be. So that's me for today. I've lost all comments. This happens sometimes. It's very strange. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that. So it's a bit different. I deliberately went a bit different because, yeah, sometimes it's the right thing to do. And I don't think we honour ourselves enough. I don't think we look at us enough and thank the goddess for what we are, for all the things that we can be. And those things around us, it's not always about sex, though it is. But you know, I know it's the sexy one, but we had enough sex in ours yesterday, so hopefully that's something a bit different. And yeah, so I'll see you all soon. Blessed be.